What's up, everyone? I'm Scott,
And I'm Jason.
and you are listening to Liquid Carnage. Is it season 6?
Yeah, we're officially in season 6.
I have to tell you, it popped up in my memories today because we were recording this on May the 16th. May the 16th, 5 years ago, was the date of our first release.
Yes.
All the promos I had sent out, all the promos. So for those of you that have been with us for the last 5 years, thank you. We appreciate it. You have listened to our nonsense, our poignant conversations, our half-assery, our full-assery. You have been with us, and for that, we say thank you.
We salute you.
Oh man, I tell you
And
what,
not the one finger salute either. A real salute.
a real salute, like a real military
salute.
type salute. So that's good,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you survived. You did your first Ragnar and you survived.
Let me clarify. I did not do the Ragnar. I was the team support for the Ragnar.
Oh, okay. Well, then you supported the first Ragnar. You survived.
This was an experience all around, and I will tell you a story of this because this is a story that I would not have believed it. I would have thought that it was probably some kind of low budget, just dumb movie.
Okay.
Had I not known any better. So Jeanice agreed to do a Ragnar with her friends Megan and some other friends back in December. As the months have gone on, all of the friends that we thought were going to run this Ragnar had to back out for one reason or the other. So,
oh no!
Aside from Megan and Jeanice, we knew no one else on this Ragnar team. And for those who don't know what a Ragnar is, it's basically a 30-hour race. The 24, there's 8 runners to a team, at least on this team, and they all had to run 3 legs, three trails, in order, up above Zion National Park in Utah. So, it was camping, and you've done a Ragnar before. I think you've talked about it on the show where it's basically you're riding behind in a van for 6 or 7 hours till it's your turn to run. Then you go and you run 6 or 7 miles, and you rinse and repeat until the race is over.
Yes.
This was a trail run Ragnar, so there's camping involved. There's 3 different trails.
You stop at the same spot, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So 3 trails, 2 or 4 miles. One was 8 miles. Basically, it's 144 miles for the team.
Okay. Yeah.
So as we were preparing for this, we were trying to coordinate with our friends, to coordinate food, kids, sleeping arrangements, what have you. And we're gonna caravan up there together because we knew each other and we could bounce off of each other. So last week prior, we were at the local Mother's Day Arts and Crafts Festival downtown, and we ran into a friend of ours. We'll call her Elaine.
Beth. Oh, okay, Elaine.
We'll call her Elaine. Okay. Elaine has been in a relationship with a good friend of ours for a very long time. They're very sweet people. They're very good together, but sometimes they're both kind of ditzy.
Okay.
So Elaine, we're telling Elaine about what we're doing this weekend. She goes, "Oh, this is great. We have a 3-room tent you guys can borrow if you want. And you guys can each take a room and put the kids in the middle or gear or whatever you want to do. It'll be great. It'll be easy. I'll get it down, and I'll have her boyfriend, we'll call him Melvin, bring it over to you." So, okay, that's fine. She said, or, I live very close. I can just drop it off at the house. So whatever you want to do, just let me know. But we leave Thursday morning. So, the week goes on, and I haven't heard from Elaine, and I see her boyfriend Melvin at work. I'm like, "Hey," Elaine said, "you have this tent. Do you want me to come by?" And he goes, No, I got to get it down. And I got to get it down on Monday, turn to Tuesday. Yeah, I'll get it to you. Don't worry. When do you leave? To where Melvin dropped off the tent Thursday night at 10 o'clock when we're leaving at 7 a.m. on Thursday morning. It was Wednesday night.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Not cool. Not cool, yeah. Melvin. Not
but,
cool.
This is typical last minute stuff that we're used to. I mean, it's not that big of a deal. So we didn't have time to really look at everything. We just, she was so adamant. It was a 3-room tent, and she said it to all 4 of us, so everyone heard the same thing. So we embark on our adventure on Thursday. We go through Vegas, up through Zion National Park. And if you've never been through Zion National Park, it's a beautiful park.
Beautiful, yeah.
And we go right out the back gate of Zion National Park onto what is basically Wild Cow, for those that are in the Kingman, Arizona area. High cedars, scrub brush, dry, no canyons, just very different kind of beauty to this place called the Ponderosa Zion Ponderosa Ranch or whatever. And it's got a store, a restaurant, cabins, RV parking, pools, and whatnot for everybody that's staying with the resort. And they let all the people camping there use that stuff too. But we were camping, so there's a little shower and bathroom area like down the way a little bit. So by a tree camping area, and we were told to camp in the tree area. So we pay our money to go take our trucks into the spot, and we have to unload everything from our trucks and use a rickshaw pulled by us to the campsite. So
What?
yeah. So
Oh,
Brian
God.
and I, and now I'll tell you, there are 4 kids and 4 adults. Megan, our friend Megan, and Jeanice were running the race. Brian and I were trying to not control, but
Take care of
handle,
the kids.
take care of the kids, take care of the camp, the food, what have you, and let them just concentrate on the run and whatever else. So we're trying to unload everything and get it squared away. And someone had to stay with the truck while we went and found a campsite or trucks. And when we found a campsite, everything opened at 2, and we got there about 2:20, and all the campsites were pretty much taken. So we ended up like at a little crossroads, like that looked like it's probably where people cut between the 2 roads that were meeting a few yards ahead.
Okay.
Like a turnaround spot.
Okay.
So we just took that and made the best of it. We had to park like a mile away and take a shuttle from the parking area back to the camp.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, oh, dude.
Oh, geez.
And it was only supposed to be like 55 when we got there on Thursday. And it was 75, and I tell you, it felt like 120.
Oh, boy. Oh, yeah, because it was hot.
Yeah. And I had never been in a place where when the sun was up, you were burning up and dying. But the minute that sun went down, the wind picked up, and if you weren't properly bundled, you were frozen.
Oh, boy. Wow.
So
Okay.
there's no campfires allowed in the campsite. No, a lot of things you couldn't do. If you wanted to go to the campfire, they had one down by the starting point and the finishing point of the race in the little Ragnar village. They had all this stuff and activities down there. It's about a quarter mile down the road. It's not a big deal. So, Janice starts working on getting this 3-room tent set up. And as we're getting everything unloaded and set up, she gets the tent set up all on her own fairly quickly. And look at it and said, "Where's the other 2 rooms?"
Oh, jeez.
And we
Oh,
look at it,
no.
and no, this is not a 3-room tent. This is a 3-person tent.
Oh, no.
So,
Oh, no.
by the grace of God, Brian threw in another tent for the kids just in case. So we were able to squeeze in the 4 adults into the tent, and then put the kids in the other tent.
But
And
still.
then, yeah, it was a tight fit all weekend, and that is a test of friendship for all 4 adults, because I think out of the 2 nights we were there, because we came home early on Saturday, everyone took turns snoring and annoying everybody.
Oh, boy. Oh,
So,
boy.
so as the rest of our team kind of pulls in, we get everyone there and set up and whatnot. The sun goes down, and we go down to the campfire because they have s'mores and entertainment, kind of like a welcome party for the racers.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, it's a good time and it's fun. And we come back, and once it's dark out, since you can't have a campfire, like, well, all right. And the kids went off into their tent. We didn't hear from them the rest of the night. They were just screwing around, being kids. And the adults went to their tent, and we realized that where we set up our tent, we're on like a major thoroughfare for the weekend. Like, we are literally in a hotel room on the side of a freeway motel where there's cars going by nonstop. So
Sorry.
and right like 10 yards to the left of us as a set of porta potties, and 15 yards to the right of that set of porta potties is another set of porta potties. And it's an all night party at these Ragnars, Jason.
Oh, I know. Because think about it. When you're not running,
Yeah.
and you've already slept, you're basically up waiting for your next turn. So you
Yeah.
do party.
So Friday night, before the thing even gets started, none of us slept because everyone's walking up and down the road because people are getting to camp, trying to set up their tents and whatnot, using these rickshaws. There's music blaring. You hear the porta potty doors opening and slamming. And there's supposed to be quiet time from 12 p.m. to 6 a.m. or from midnight to 6 a.m. But even when the music stopped for that, you could still hear everybody talking or whatever else. So everyone ended up being up at like 5 a.m. On Friday, just fried, barely any sleep. The race gets started about 8 o'clock that morning, 8:30 that morning, and they start going, and they're having a good time. We get cowbells for the kids, so the kids are there like clamoring and cheering for everybody, and
Yeah.
and they got to go to the pool.
Fun.
So
Yeah.
the kids had a good time with it, and we're hanging out and whatnot. And we had one of the guys that we were with is an ex-Marine, like our buddy Brian. But this guy, anyone that's met our buddy Brian's a very boisterous, outgoing guy. This guy on our team, Chris, super nice guy, but super quiet. Didn't talk.
Oh.
But he looked at me. This guy's like, he's jacked. Like he's a CrossFitter. He's super fit, but he doesn't really talk to you unless he knows you or has something to say. And he's not going to interject in random conversation. So he's the strong, silent type. And, Brian was talking about their service and whatnot. And he's like, oh, yeah, I did this. I think he worked in airplanes. And I go, well, what do you do now? He goes, well, I live up in Colorado, and I take vets fresh out of the military and try to reacclimate them to the world working for a nonprofit. So I take them hiking and camping and teach them real life skills.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So he walked away, and I looked at Brian and Megan and Jeanice right there. I said, this guy pulls ass. Like, no question. Like, he's a good looking dude. He doesn't say much, so women think, they're right. He agrees with everything.
Right,
And then
right.
when they ask what he does, it's, I help the needy.
I volunteer for the needy. Oh yeah, that's awesome.
It's like a double cock block on all these different levels, but super nice guy. Just one. We had a great time with him all weekend. But as the race is going on, Saturday night, the kids are they're wearing down because they barely got any sleep. And Janice's youngest, my God, it was probably the funniest thing I've ever seen her do. She's 7, and it was her first time camping, so she's just super excited. So when you're camping, it's pretty much a free for all for food, just running around. And after she got to go swimming and doing all that, she looked like a shark on Shark Week, where like there's nothing behind the eyes. She's just swimming. So she's just making the rounds of. She's shaking the cowbell. She's going to eating an Uncrustable. She's having some chips. She's playing in the tent, and she's just making this continuous loop. But when you look at her, like, I think she's just, there's nothing behind her eyes. She's just done. And that kid just collapsed.
Oh man.
So when she finally went to bed, Jeanice had to run her second leg, which was the 8-mile run, about 10:30, 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
And these are trails through like the Zion, through the canyons, narrow narrow bridges or whatever else. So she was a little nervous. I was a little nervous. It was butt ass cold. And she takes off, and I told her, I'm going to try to wait up for you. I'm going to try to, make sure you get back okay. And I think that might have been the only 2 hours of sleep I got was when she left until I got back, because like I mentioned earlier, where our tent was,
it was just a lot of people out.
There was, by that time, toilet paper had run out of the porta potties, and they hadn't refilled it yet. So you hear doors opening and slamming constantly, looking for toilet paper, and headlamps all night. People run all night.
Oh yeah.
And thank God by 6 a.m. Sunday morning, they decided, you know what, it's going to be too hot, or Saturday morning, it's going to be too hot. So the last legs of the race, you're going to double up. So so we had 6 runners left that they each had to run the course. So instead of waiting to cycle through the green, yellow, and red loops, they just sent the yellows out, the greens out, and the reds out all at the same time when it was their turn to run those loops. So we ended up finishing about 2 o'clock on Saturday afternoon, and everyone was just cooked, man.
Yeah.
And I looked at Brian and Megan when Jeanice was out on the course and said, let's go home tonight, because I don't want to sleep in here again, because the air matches were bad. It's tight fit. Everyone's getting everyone's nerves. So we managed to, when everyone else was bailing, and getting out was just as hard as getting in, trying to get your truck up there and get it loaded up. And then it's 4.5 hours before we're back to home. But I was never so happy to be home and sleep in my own bed and just like shower, because it was so dry and hot. But it was a great time. Like, it was a lot of fun. Jeanice finished it and did great. Megan did great. The kids had a good time. So that's all that really mattered with it. But, you get a weekend like that, you tend to learn a lot about yourself and your family dynamic,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. When you travel like that and you've been put up every roadblock, it'll test you. It'll test you.
Oh yeah, even even with friends, it's funny, like I said, everybody took their turn snoring, but nobody ever directly said to anyone about their snoring. But you hear like the comments later on as the weekend goes on. It's like, yeah, man, there's some serious snoring going on there last night. And you're wondering yourself, were you talking about me? Because I don't even remember sleeping last night. Or, I hope you're talking about so and so because that wasn't us. But you get chippy because you get tired and you're hot and you're dirty but it's still a good time. Like we would do it again in a heartbeat next year if the girls decide they want to run.
Oh, good then. Okay, that's what the most important thing. I mean, if the experience at the end of the day was good, but you learned a few lessons that you'll take next year,
Oh
then
yeah,
that's always a good thing.
yeah, and that's what I told Janice. I said now that we know what to expect next year, we can do things a whole lot easier and a whole lot different. Because now that we know the lay of the land, we know what we have to look for. We can make it all work. But they have these glamping spots where all you have to do is bring your clothes and your food. They
Yep,
have
and they have all
the
built up
tents
ready
and
for
all
you.
that. Yeah, and I was like, damn, this is cool because it's basically a 10 by 10 pop up with attached tents like that hook into it.
Yeah,
So when I got
yeah,
home, on Saturday, I kind of thought about it and got up Sunday morning. We went to the old internet and found a very similar setup. So I ordered basically a pop up with two tents to attach and a privacy wall. So even if we don't get one next year, or if we want to go try it out camping sometime this year, we have a setup so we can practice with it. Because the biggest lesson we learned was make sure you check and see how big your tent is first.
yeah. Oh yeah, that was unfortunate. I shouldn't I should preface something. I've always thought I was kind of an easy traveler, kind of go with the flow. But now, after hearing that story and kind of knowing a little bit more about myself, I have to preface it by saying, if I can afford to make myself comfortable, I will make myself comfortable.
Oh yeah.
I mean, yeah, I'm willing to wing it, and I could sleep in a tent that's made for three people and put four people in. I could do that, but if I have the financial resources not to, I think I'd rather not.
Oh yeah. Well,
And not because I'm grumpy or anything, but it's just like, why put myself through that extra headache?
that's what we talked about. We said if we do this next year, we know when registration opens up in December, those glamping spots sold out in 10 minutes, or the RV spots sold out fairly quickly, and sort of the cabins. I said now that we know what's going on, if we can get into
Right.
one of those, we're golden. We can do that. You know,
Right. There you go. Okay. Oh
yeah,
yeah.
it's
Yeah.
just live and learn as you go. And I think to me the best part of the trip came when I was at work today and I saw my friend Melvin. I was like, hey, just the four of us were wondering, just to clarify, do you have a 3-room tent or a 3-person tent? And he looked at me and said, we have a 3-person tent. That's the one I gave you. I said, that's funny because Elaine swore up and down this was a 3-room tent, and it was not. And he goes, huh. So he called Elaine and had her on speakerphone talking to her, and she swears up and down they have this tent. And
So
he swears,
one of them screwed up, is what
yeah,
you're telling me.
oh yeah, but neither one. She swears they have it. He swears they don't even own it. So when I saw him this afternoon, he mentioned she has been tearing the garage apart looking for this tent because she's convinced it exists. So that's good to know for next year, but we're prepared. We just want to know for posterity's sake and postmortem if there's actually is a 3-person tent now.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing too is when you're the runner, it's even a little bit more stressful because one, you don't get a chance to kind of sit with the group the whole time. You have to, you're obviously running. Two, I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but 4, 4, and 8, that's a lot on a person in a 24, 30 hour period
Oh yeah.
that's not used to running that much. So they need their rest. They need to kind of, get their legs up. They can't just drink and party and do all that because they got to run in, 8 hours or 6 hours or whatever the time is. So yeah, that's hard. That's hard.
Now I will say, since I was not running, I when everyone grazed for food when they recovered, so did I. When they were drinking their electrolytes, I was drinking beer. I
Yes.
had a great time on Friday, and I started Saturday the same way. I was eating the donut or the donuts, but the protein muffins and drinking the beer with it. And then we decided, well, let's leave tonight. I had to stop all that and hydrate and get right. So I came home with a lot of beer, which was fine. But I think I tried to party and have a good time as much as I could for everybody else.
Yeah. Well, and let's be honest, Scott. I mean, the you are the type of person that does need to have certain things already lined out so you know what you're getting into.
Yeah.
Throwing a curveball like that is not what you don't thrive in a curveball type of environment.
Yeah.
So when you got that three person, not three broom tent, I'm sure that the stress level internally, while you didn't show it to anyone else, probably went through your head.
Yeah. And I think it clarifies. I think I do handle the stress well, like face to face, like face value wise. But you're absolutely right. Like internally,
You're like going, "What the hell is this? I'm going to kill Melvin."
yeah,
Elaine, you're dead to me.
exactly. And everyone, the whole weekend was like, "God damn, Melvin." I was like, I don't think it was Melvin's fault. I think Elaine honestly thought they had this tent, and Melvin either grabbed the wrong tent or grabbed what he thought was that tent. But
Yes.
I don't think this was done intentionally, and that's the conversation today. I do not think it was intentional.
Yeah, and I take it you don't have a tent.
Actually, I do have a tent,
Okay,
and
so
and the
one
way
thing
this,
that you could also remember to do is, when in doubt, overcamp.
yeah,
Bring more.
but I thought about that, but the reason I left our tent was a space issue because the bed of the truck was already full and like at the top, and the back seat with the girls and their stuff was full, and there was literally no space.
I
So I
got you.
had to make the command decision, and I am grateful that Brian did bring the other tent for the kids. But you live and you learn, and
Yeah. Well, hey, these that's great.
at the end of the day, it's a fun story to tell looking back at it now. And what I'm most impressed about is that everybody literally left all their stuff out. Nobody was zipping up their tents. Everybody was leaving like Yetis and chargers for their phones, solar stuff out in the campsites, and everything was fine.
No
Like,
one ever worried about thievery or anything like that.
and I was talking to Brian about that. And he goes, "Well, you decided to think about it. We're literally in the middle of nowhere, and the type of people that are going to run one of these
Yeah, they're not
aren't.
they.
They're not those type of people.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
So,
Oh, yeah.
so you can trust that there's good in society, even though society tells us, maybe it's not that great these days." So yeah, I mean, it was a good time. Lesson learned, and Jeanice and I've been talking about doing one of those destination, like you answer the questions and they tell you where you're going vacations.
Yeah, you should.
Well, no, we came home for this weekend. She goes, "I don't think you can handle the anxiety of not knowing where you're going, so I don't think we should do that." I,
Oh,
I
yeah,
got,
that's true.
I said, "That's fair." I asked her, "Where do you want to go for vacation?" She goes, "I don't know." I said, "Okay,
Well,
well, you want to go and let me know."
yeah, well, here's the one thing I will tell you because we did do that experience, and while you don't know exactly where you're going, it's not like they're putting you in, like some second
Yeah,
two-star hotel or something. I mean, wherever you're going, you have nice accommodations. You're not in a bad neighborhood. You're in a nice part of town.
yeah,
It's not like they just put you in a very crappy neighborhood out in the middle of nowhere. Like they give you all kinds of things. So even though you wouldn't know necessarily where you were going, you could at least take confidence that they're going to give us a list of activities to do. They're going to give us a nice place to stay. They're going to give us how to get out of the airport and give us the instructions on how to get to the hotel, whether it's through Uber or shuttle or whatever. So just trust that they don't put you like, okay, you're out in the ghetto. Good luck, you
yeah,
know. And
yeah.
whatever you do, don't talk to the guy with the burning car. Okay, talk to the guy that's got four wheels on his car.
Oh
So
man,
they don't do that to you.
I'm glad you brought that up. The craziest thing happened. So I was coming to the gym today, and I got a call from work. So I was in my truck, engine running, talking on the Bluetooth, and a homeless person walked right to my truck, and I was just looking at the steering wheel. I wasn't looking up. I could see it. I could see them out of my peripherals.
Yeah.
And she got into a shouting match with me, unbeknownst to me. While I was on the phone, I could kind of hear what she was saying, but she had no teeth, and she
Oh.
had a giant stick, and I just kept thinking, like, my God, if she hits my truck with a stick, I'm gonna have to fight a homeless person.
Oh, you're gonna have to kick an ass out of a homeless person.
Oh yeah. So she starts like you can see like the motions like getting more and more animated, and I kind of looked over at her, and I think she's looking for change or like water, and I just kind of shook her out, like shook the head off, so, like no. And I looked up, and she's walking across the street like yelling at cars, but it was the most random thing. I tell you what, man,
Uh,
I feel
some
like
people are weird, man.
it is crazy times.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's I mean, that's kind of a little off topic, but yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. That's what I
But
mean.
now, but anyways, that's the biggest thing. Like I when I first traveled with Noreen, it was a work trip,
Yeah.
and I had known her for 6 weeks. I didn't even know her long enough to do anything, right?
Mhm.
To even know her family, anything about her. So we traveled together. We had airline ticket or airline seats next to each other. But from the moment we got on the plane, it was just easy to talk to her. I taught her how to play cribbage. She'd never played cribbage before. Did all this stuff with her, and then when we got to the hotel, we found a dinner place easy. We did a little travel excursion easy. It was about the easiest travel I've ever done with a complete stranger. It sounds like that you learned a little bit about yourself with Brian and Megan and Janice. That okay, it wasn't perfect, but we can travel with them.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Now, flip
That
that and say, I can't travel with the person and spend a weekend doing
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Totally not possible.
Yeah, yeah, no, no, we learned to travel real well, and this is like the first outing. Like Janice and I and the girls all had like a weekend away doing something like this because it was like her youngest's first time camping. Um, just in a completely new environment. I think we did good. It's just it's living and learning and learning about different the different personality traits. Um, in relationships when you put in new situations because you get so used to the day in and day out grind of life of paying the bills and making sure everything's taken care of that sometimes when you get these little curveballs it's good to change gears and kind of think about the different paces and just enjoy those moments. But I can tell you I've never been more proud of someone as I was of Janice, the way she ran that race and finished. Because I'll be honest, man, if you would have told me I had to go run 8 miles in the middle of nowhere at 10 p.m. When it's freezing out, I'd have laughed at you. I'd have taken my backpack full of beer and just gone on a hike for 8 miles and come back when I came back because I wasn't going to run that.
Yeah, when I did my Ragnar, the 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 medium run was at dusk, so it was like 7:30, 8 o'clock, and there it was on major roads. The last run of mine was 6 miles, but it was at 6 o'clock in the morning, and it was pretty much by myself. I mean, there was no one out there but me. Occasionally, there'd be a runner who'd pass me or not pass me, but for the most part, you're by yourself. And doing that even in the beginning morning hours, like I did, it was a little nervous, especially when you don't know where you're running. You're just kind of
Oh yeah.
on a trail. Yeah, so I can imagine how unnerving it would be to be on some trail in Zion at night, not knowing where you're going, who's around you or anything.
And I can tell you, and I don't ever want to discourage anyone from trying to run a Ragnar because when you watch the people, because obviously there are runners, people that train for this and they do this and that's their joy. But man, you watch all sorts of different kind of characters, like passing by the campsite running. There's a guy dressed as a rodeo clown, and he had Ultra in his hand, and he was drinking beer the whole time he was fast walking these while he's drinking water. They had dudes that were wearing unicorn outfits and wizard outfits, and they had their beer staffs
Yeah.
and some of these and the people we were with because she's one of the people on her team was the owner of a gym down in Havasu, and she's like, oh my god, these people with these beer staffs, they're gonna get super dehydrated because it's really hot. I said, yeah, but they're drinking hard seltzer, not beer, and it's from Costco and it's the Kirkland seltzer. So I said, I don't know how potent that really is, but good for them. you
I,
know
I'll tell you what. I mean, we had the same thing in our experience. There were people in costumes. The one I remember the most, though, and I think we talked about it, was there was a team of two,
yeah, oh yeah,
two guys.
they had a bunch of those.
Yeah, where it was just one guy ran 10 miles, then the next guy ran 10 miles, and they did that, through and ours was a 200 mile trek. So it was two guys that ran every other leg. It was insane watching these guys,
you know
but they get a kick out of it. And like you said, there's a community now. Like
yeah,
she belongs to a community of people who do this, that they always have that memory in their life.
exactly. And back to my point is I don't ever want anyone to be discouraged from doing one of these because there were people walking it just as much as there were people running it. So I think it's if you're there for your own enjoyment, go and enjoy it. You know,
I will say that I've always remembered the experience fondly. I really did. I mean, like I said, when you're in a van with the same six people for 8 hours, you get giggly, you get tired. I mean, it's yeah.
Oh yeah, and that's it, man. You like even sitting on the campsite waiting, you're just waiting for everyone to come back in. Like you're excited. Then when you know you're getting close, because they had to pass on two of those trails, they had to pass by our camp, so we knew we had to go down there and cheer them on or get the next person ready. You find your groove and you find your community within it, and it's a good time. So I
Yeah,
recommend
good. Awesome.
recommend at least camping there once,
Yeah, there you
if
go.
you don't do it. But if you've ever had an adventure like that you think was fun and you want to share with us, hit us up on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, all at Liquid Carnage. Or if you have heard of a Ragnar event in Colorado that you think our EP Tom should attend, just on a camping standpoint, because he does miss his NASCAR, hit him up on Twitter and Instagram at liquid_EP.
Well, I'm glad you survived. I'm glad Janice did it. She'll remember it for the rest of her life. I do feel though that yeah, you guys need to do a vacation where there's none of this having to pack a bunch of stuff and move camping. You need to do one where you go somewhere and you just relax and
Yeah,
don't do anything.
yeah. No, that's coming. That's coming very soon.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
so I'm glad that you're moving that way.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
well,
that
hey
being said,
everyone. Yeah, go ahead. No, sorry, I was going to interrupt you. I was
no,
going to
go,
say thank you everyone for listening. We really appreciate you. That was Scott. I am Jason, and as always, if you never know quite what to say, just have yourself some liquid carnage.